That's what he's going to go for here. Right? They're not giving him Maokai. They're not giving him Shen. They're trying to get him back on comfort. I know he can be an excellent player. And, well, he had a pretty decent game 1 here against Phoenix 1. We'll see how game 2 goes as we get ourselves into the picks and bans. And this time around, not a lot of Darshan targeted bans here.
Yeah, they're more targeting bans towards Huhi. That Azir was quite impressive by him last game. Cassiopeia being banned against Pyrian just makes sense for CLG. It's one of the newer champions in the game. CLG is still kind of playing catch up a little bit to that.
And interesting, CLG actually banning what the analyst said P1 should play. Actually, he's like, yeah, Nuko, probably just play Lissandra, get on the backline. CLG's like, what they shouldn't be allowed to play? Lissandra. So, interesting there. Ryze once again banned by the red side, not allowing it to get first picked up. And well, look at that, it's Karma.
Yeah, this was the first pick for Phoenix 1 when they were on blue side last game. But then these are also 2 champions that COG had last game that Phoenix 1 is now able to pick. So Zig will get the lane bully man in Trundle.
I want the salty run back, where they just play each other's comps and then one team just wins anyway still. Like, this is the comp versus the teams.
I mean, CLG is used to the run back a little bit. That was one of my favorite memories from MSI.
Oh, yeah.
When they just walked in the exact same composition against SKT for the 2nd game in a row. But that was when they didn't swap sides. So that's incentives to do that here.
Yeah. All right, you know what to do, CLG. You need to grab yourself Sivir. You need a Bard. And you got to grab Kindred. Okay, there's no Azir, so you can dispute it all. But my goal is just to see the exact same champ select. That's not the jungler Smithy.
Yeah, I do not think we're going to see the same teams on the other sides, especially since it's impossible with the Azir ban.
I know, but 9 out of 10 is good enough, right? That's still an A-. I feel like I'll give him a 90%. Either way, the CLG2 actually make their choices, and Fiora was left unbanned, as was Jackson. He'd rather play the Fiora, and Xmithie actually still wants the Elise coming through here, so a small change for CLG.
Specifically into the Trundle, the Fiora will be a better pick. Fiora is something that can actually outscale the Trundle, whereas the Jax is questionable whether or not that will happen, since a lot of times Jax hypercarries by building damage and then resists, whereas Trundle will thrive off of the resists from Jax. Fiora will just get percent health true damage. That's not something Zig can deal with.
Not as easily. The raw attack damage removal he gets to do with his Q will help a little bit. It'll lower the damage output. There's tools there, but yeah, it's not like Darshan's going to build a ton of health and armor to give back over to the Trundle. I've seen the matchup go both ways. I agree with you that it should be Fiora-sided. And
yeah, I think it could be Fiora-sided really late in the game. I think early on in the game, it's definitely Trundle-sided.
Yeah. Most things are Trundle-sided early on in the game. And look at this P1 going back to a little bit more of the things they were doing before. Olaf for a no big surprise. And Mash actually back on the Tristana. I honestly haven't loved the champion in a little while, but Mash still likes it.
Yeah. I'm with you, but this is a champion that both Mash and Stixxay have some shared familiarity with. Stixxay had some pretty good Trist games down the stretch, but has shied away from that champion recently. I feel like Stixxay will just continue to pick Ezreal when it's available. He's so solid at that champion, and it would fit pretty well with their composition right now, depending on what type of mid laner they want to do.
Yeah, totally agree, and we'll see what the comp ends up being now, because it's up to them to actually solidify all of it. Ezreal would not be bad, but also he doesn't have that much threat on it. Like, this is actually a great game for Vayne, by the way. When you have an Olaf and a Trundle, those are like your premier targets where you can kite them, get away from them. They have to auto-attack you to do anything, and you cut through their health pools. Stixxay, not a prolific Vayne player, but can actually go for the Lucian. You know what? If Doublet's not going to play it, then Stixxay will. And actually, Janna coming through. So, this is weird. It's a very physical-heavy team, and Lucian's not the best late game to carry either.
Yeah, they really just switched it up a whole bunch, though. It's kind of just double protect the Lucian with a Karma mid lane instead of a Lulu mid lane. So you protect the Lucian with speeds, but you don't actually give him more damage. So it's less ideal, in my opinion, than the Lulu one. But Karma with the team speed, a lot of shields for the Fiora and the Lucian. I imagine they're thinking Stixxay will do the penetration Black Cleaver build, which will then amp Darshan's damage, and then Darshan can also do some true damage. It's not exactly like your awesome team fighting team. It's more just like be really fast, try and get really far ahead, and be able to slice through Phoenix 1. Interesting, very interesting team comp from CLG.
I like this Victor for P1. This is nice, rounding out the damage contributions quite nicely. A big front line, and actually, I think a lot of damage. Trundle and Olaf can put in some. Victor does a lot. Tristana can certainly go off. CLG have two, I want to say, semi-mages, since Karma's so supporting. Her damage output not that high. And Elise, gets some. It's not like you're playing Fiddlesticks jungle where Crowstorm kills everyone, but at least has some contribution. So a mix of damage, but I'm just not sure CLG can actually cut through the front line.
Yeah, Proto Belt for Xmithie in the last game. I mean, Zig will be the big, Zig and Gate even will be the big things they're going to have to cut through. So I think a lot of this will just have to do with CLG getting very far ahead in the early game. And I do think that they can even do a straight up lane. Like the Stixxay Aphromoo lane is very threatening against Mash and Gate. So I would look for CLG to play more aggressive in the early game this time, since they don't have as favorable of scaling as they did in game 1. And I'm really curious to see this composition play out, because it is not a very common strategy for the no tank, double shield, protect the Lucian comp nowadays.
Yeah, it is very strange. We'll see how it plays out here. It's definitely strange for CLG, but they wanted to play it, so you know, I'll give them some respect for now. But you guys at home, let us know how it's going to go. Game 2 of the best of 3. CLG won the first one. Let us know who's going to win the second one here. Hashtag CLG win. Hashtag P1 win for which squad it's going to be here. If CLG wins, it's the last game of the stream here over on Stage A. Catalog Gaming could make it 2 straight 2-0s on stage. Their first win in a couple of weeks, honestly. But Phoenix One looking for their first win, period. And we'll see if they can do that, bringing back Game 2 as we are getting ourselves into game.
And be very curious to see what type of scouting we get in the first game here. CLG burned 3 Phoenix One flashes within the first 2 minutes of the last game. Mash and Gate both had to burn flash at level 1, but I don't think they will make the same mistake of being baited once again.
You would hope not, but you never know. CLG definitely has some very creative, very good level 1s. I remember after MSI, I was talking with some of the players, and I forget who they gave credit to, but they said one of their...
It was RNG. Well, to me, CLG and RNG were the only 2 teams doing stuff at level 1 in MSI.
Right. That's a different story. He was... Sorry. No, it's fine. I mean, I agree, though, that CLG and RNG were 2 of the better level 1 teams. It was either Huhi or their sub Yuna they gave credit for like, inventing one of the level 1s, where he was like, hey, why don't we just do this? This repeats what everyone does right now at level 1. And CLG was like, oh, we should try that. And it was, like, great for a few weeks, because no one knew what they were doing. And
what's actually really cute is, like, CLG has evolved enough in their team that they have, like, multiple different level 1 strategies, and they all have code names. So they're just like, let's do Black Thunder this game, guys. And they're like, yeah, let's do it.
And they're saying it non-ironically, by the way.
It's actually what they're doing.
Can you just imagine, like, queuing up for ranked, you get into your game, you're like, I'm support, guys, let's do Black Thunder. Okay, I'm down, right? And, like, everyone knows what that means.
That would be cute. Someone should release a level 1 guidebook with code names.
I mean, at least we know that was the... Well, he put it in easier, but, like, that ward is often the Scar ward if you do it from the Dragon Pit. Like, there's some, like, fun etymology that comes through over time, right? And people know, like, Insec. Oh, that's the Lee Sin ward kickback, right? Black Thunder. We're going to make it a thing, guys. Ooh, smack.
Yeah, very ineffectual roam, I would say. He doesn't even deny a CS. But he did the damage.
But he is exerting dominance.
Yeah, interesting. Darshan actually ended up showing in that top side to pick up the 3 CS. Now he will never get to go to that lane again, as everyone roams up to stop him. But interestingly enough, he did get the 3 CS, which is something Zig was unable to accomplish. So a very slight lead for Darshan early.
Zig did at least get some experience, but Darshan is ahead of him in this regard right now, as Inori runs out of mana, but will be taking this blue buff without too much trouble, honestly. Looks like a pretty equal trade of resources across the map. Smites for some more mana. And no one will steal that, so we'll be just fine as these turrets fall down pretty normally. Xmithie looking to make a little bit of a play there. He forces the flash by going for the root. Once Xmithie was spotted, he knew he'd get chain stunned, and so Pyrion loses a summon spell due to an Xmithie gank.
Yeah.
And he can go back into the jungle.
And Pyrion's actually gotten Ghost Flash in this matchup, which usually is just a very strong team fighting victor because of the added mobility. But specifically in this lane matchup against the Elise jungler, I think it would be much better served with the cleanse. Basically, Huhi has Flash now, and Pyrion just has Ghost. So if Pyrion ever moves beyond halfway in the lane again and Elise is there, Huhi can get the root with his W, and it will be an instant chain into Xmithie's cocoon. So that's a very real chance at a first blood.
And Darshan next down the turret, slightly faster for CLG. That first turret rate going up.
Why those stats are silly sometimes.
They are very silly sometimes. But technically accurate.
Yep.
As Zig faints a couple times, knocks down. You know, you got to be careful, Tron. If you swing more than like past your waist, that counts as a strike. So be careful. I forget the exact, like, I think it has to like be over the plate for it to
baseball
count.
rule?
He's also not playing the baseball trundle skin. But
The baseball rule is actually, it's about breaking your wrists. So like
Okay.
when you're swinging the bat, you actually break your wrist when you're completing the motion. So even if the bat like moves, it's either like halfway across the plate, like in a straight angle, but it's mainly about breaking the wrist. And it's all umpires, so they make judgment calls, and it all becomes very inconsistent. But that's the rule.
Okay, thank you. I know you're a bigger conventional sports fan than I am. Oh, he missed a melee minion. Twitch chat's tilted. Okay, he's got that one. We're back on track here.
He's
Plus
winning
8.
lane again against Pyrion, though.
Yeah, he's actually smashing him. So, yes, the gank, of course, helped. It denied some farm, and it makes Pyrion have to play differently with Flash down. But, hey, that was the early Elise pick, right? Get some early lane pressure and making some good things happen. Shields up most of the damage. Pyrion does the same, and they trade blows back and forth. He was +8 a little while ago, and that number is staying the same. Round 2 of the lane swap is going to be, once again, a 3v0. Darshan walking a bit late to join his team, but he'll be there eventually. Both top laners at 11, but somehow Stixay is up 10.
Yeah. Maybe Mash just missing a few CS with explosive shots. Who knows?
Certainly possible. Also, some of it's probably Zig taxing because Darshan had +3 even walking into the lane swap in the first place. So maybe a bit of column A, bit of column B. Stixay crushes the minion wave. Gotta say, Janna Lucian is really good at knocking turrets. And also, I like that Afro shielded Darshan specifically because turrets have flat damage reduction before armor. And so if you add flat attack damage, it's actually a significant damage bump against flat damage reduction. Because instead of doing 20 damage, you're doing 30, which is a significant jump. And so it meant that Darshan was hitting pretty hard, as Lucian was going to wave clear well regardless.
Yeah, something kind of interesting happened in the midst of this lane swap. Zig teleported from basically halfway across the lane. Here's the extra gank. This is what we talked about.
You called it, and it's going to be the root into the easy cocoon, into even Janna being there for good measure. Kill goes through to Huhi. Nicely done. Once again, the turrets are traded, but now they're walking into Phoenix 1. This could be horrible for Counterlogic Gaming. Stun's going to land. One more hit will do it, and it's going to be the reset for Mash. He goes in towards a beautiful pillar from Zig into a kill on Aframu. 2 more hits. Gate sadly scumbags the kill, but what a great counter by Phoenix 1.
Yeah, I feel like CLG was so tunneled about the execution of that gank, which had been set up a few minutes ago, that they're just like, all right, we got the gank, now go to Dragon. Completely forgetting that Phoenix 1 has been missing on the map and was either at Drake, recalled, or running towards mid lane. And a 66% chance in there, 2 out of 3. It's a bad move for CLG to just funnel down into that lane. So not really respecting and thinking about the overall map leads to them just face-checking into a bunch of Phoenix 1 team members.
Not at all. So rough stuff right there. And yeah, CLG turned a great play into a miserable one. Phoenix 1 ties the score back up. We watch that play again. It's definitely nice by Huhi.
Yeah, all Huhi has to do is get the route started. He flashes for it. Pyrion tries to put down the gravity field, the zone, but CLG work around it. Gets the kill happen, but then they run right into 3 people for Phoenix 1 as the bottom lane turret has just killed. Yeah, Rocket jumps in for the slow, gets the first kill for the reset. Zig is roamed up, cuts Aframu off with a pillar, allows the second kill to be secured by Gate. They're worried about them getting away.
Yeah, I think he actually would have lived if not for Gate landing the Q. Because Mash could no longer chase, he was stuck behind a pillar, and no one else is in range anymore. So Gate, he legit would have lived if he didn't toss the Q.
Yep.
One of the worst things ever is support's like, I want to give you the kill. And like, I die 1v1 to the Vayne. I was like, but just kill the Vayne.
Oh, Zig is really weak right now.
Oh, man, level 3 without any defensive stats whatsoever. 6-5 alongside a Janna. Some real damage available here.
Rushes a Tiamat because I think he expected to just be able to clear big waves, but CLG is better at the manipulation game than that, and they're not going to give him free time on the turret, so that Tiamat unable to actually get any hits off, and he's losing a ton of CS to the turret here.
And the turret itself losing a ton of health as well. A lot of stone falling off of it right now. Below half HP, CLG completely unperturbed. They can see Pyrion, they can see the jungler, and they know where the other duo lane is, so it's totally safe. There's no threat on them. And look at Darshan by comparison. Oh, look at Huhi by comparison. Pyrion takes him out. Okay, a trade kill for Xmithie is nice and all, but Pyrion doing a really good job of a crappy situation.
Yeah, assist gold is still going to be favorable for CLG overall. Darshan also got more farm than Pyrion, so some close moves right here, but more gains being made by CLG overall.
Yeah, as far as the tier 2 turrets, by the way, slightly more damage dealt by CLG, but the turrets are actually in very similar situations. But yeah, plus assist, plus farm, definitely, of course, better.
Yeah, watch this gank one more time. Xmithie actually comes in from the back, but Huhi takes turret aggro and can't get out of the gravity field. And then he's stunned on top of Chaos Storm. Yeah. So not as clean as they would have liked that. Nice
Definitely
boost
not.
by Phoenix One on the way out.
Yeah, Huhi just not sidestepping enough. Sadly for him, does give away the kill. Still, not the worst in the world as CLG gets the assist gold. So, this game, 600 lead for Counter Logic Gaming here. For being down a kill, not too bad, honestly, as they continue to play the farm game much better. Look at the farm in the mid lane, 65 to under 40. Plus 26, if I'm not terrible at math, before 10 minutes. I mean, Huhi is absolutely smashing Pyrion.
Yeah, Pyrion's really been getting picked on, and a lot of this is just because Xmithy has been repeatedly ganking that lane.
True.
But it is now 2 games in a row where Pyrion's been struggling, so I think you kind of add the momentum from game 1 into the focus from game 2, and you get an even more lopsided result because you only have so much time to recover mentally from the previous matchup.
Yeah. Oh, Afro's not going to cover from this one, though. Stunned up, nowhere to go at all. And Ori, oh, just kidding. He survives. Phoenix One don't stay in the fight. They could have gotten him. But Nori would rather live than kill off Afro. Now the rotation, Huhi missing.
No.
The Mantra Q off his own route. That should not have missed at all.
Loses out a little bit of damage there, but all things considered, I feel like CLG backing up Afro was super clutch right there. They're going to try and push this lane while Mash is solo down on the bottom side. So CLG would like to have a little bit higher health than this so they could threaten to dive. Instead, I think they're going to have to back away.
Okay, they're just going to clear the wave off. They're going to leave one cast unit up. 6, they can't fight for that one. He tried to, and this puts him in a little bit of danger, but not enough to really push him away as he does knock down that last minion. The pillar stops the recalls, and we're okay. But look at this. Mash got some alone time, so Phoenix One actually properly defending. Darshan being committed to the top side of the map, lost him several minion waves, and maybe this entire turret. Mash deciding he was afraid of getting attacked. He actually could have finished it off in time. But he misjudged when CLG would be back on this side of the map.
Yeah, he has such limited vision to work with, even on the spot of where you're seeing CLG from recalling.
Yeah, but you're Tristana, like...
Yeah, you want to get it. You're a demolitionist.
And you have both Rocket Jump and Buster Shot.
Yep, and
Like,
Flash and Heal, and all the stuff.
I don't know. I think it was worth the risk to
But
guarantee a turret
against
going
double
down.
TP CLG, but if they burn double TP for a single kill, it's worth a turret.
Yeah.
Either
Yeah,
way, I understand the play.
yes, I
Even if
understand the risk
efficiency-
aversion.
Even if it's efficiency-wise, it would have been worth it to finish.
Yeah, expected value is actually probably positive for staying. But, you know, it's okay. It's a small choice, but it's often things like this that add up and make you lose the game. It is not the sole reason that Phoenix One would lose if they do lose this game, but things that I'm good enough to identify, I feel good when I can.
And I think it's really interesting about this COD composition as well. Like, it's such a peculiar comp that it's hard to measure like what their scaling will be against the Trundle and the Victor, and how effective is Darshan going to be in a split push war versus how effective will Huhi be, you know, against a 4-man squad, assuming Darshan can distract against Zig.
Sure. They can try to run away from the Bruisers, wait out the ultimates, and come back in. As they kite back and hope that Stixxay does enough damage and Darshan wins the split push. But definitely a clash of very different types of champions. Looking briefly at the top laners, Zig within 100 gold actually. So even though you're seeing an assist and a couple more farm on Zig right now, he's actually behind Darshan slightly. Just the quality of the farm he's gotten is actually better for Darshan. And turrets going, or sorry, wards going away. Phoenix One looking to play for Drake control. This first one, the Ocean Drake, has still not been killed, but it's actually one of the best ones to take, still fairly early into the game. Looks like it has not yet been their target. Darshan says, maybe I can win the battle against Zig now. He's actually down slightly in items, though, comparing the two players. Depending how you...
bit of damage.
Yeah, depending how you attribute Ninja Tabi versus Lifesteal, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's arguable, I guess.
Also note, Huhi has built Morellonomicon first item on Karma, trying to take advantage of the early damage you can deal on that champ instead of the Athenes.
Yeah, and it's also Grievous Wounds against the Trundle and an Olaf, so I definitely like the players who have been quick to understand. It was funny because I remember when it changed and everyone was like, we don't see enough Executioner's Calling, we're not seeing enough Morellonomicon, like what is this? Come on guys, and it feels like everyone talked about it so much that players seem to be much more acutely aware of the need for Grievous Wounds, and I see it much more frequently now in the right choices. I feel like that was something that pro players globally got a lot better at in the last 2 months.
And at least in North America, they've gotten worse about building Aegis against AAA teams. Pet peeve of mine, but I agree with you on that point. Sorry for the aside.
No, it's true. All the junglers were playing Graves and Kinder for so long, they forgot what team play was.
Yeah.
He's like, I love Hurricane. This feels great. Oh, I need to buy Aegis? Support does it.
Yep.
Meteos' dream world.
Syra on the team, and there's no room for it. It's a disaster.
Oh, that's true, yeah. What if we're playing Kindred and Syra? Who buys the Aegis?
The top laner. Or the Kindred Desire.
What if he's Fiora?
Yeah. Then you...
Who he does it?
Horrible mistake.
Karma.
It could happen.
Yeah, the
Athene's Locket, Ardent Sensor build, just like mid lane, get the gold for the support items.
Yeah. We'll have, I mean, back in the day, Sivir would build heavy auras. You do like Stark's Fervor and random stuff. That was like the old Sivir build way back in the day when nothing, because there's Q scaled off AP and W didn't crit, so it was like, why even build stats?
You'd actually do like Stark's Fervor Aegis and just be like this aura bot, because your ultimate would also give attack damage, and there was a summoner spell called Rally that gave you attack damage.
It was the best summoner spell in the game, by far.
Yes.
Also, Aegis gave 8 attack damage way back in the day. It also gave armor.
And Zeke's or Stark's Fervor, like it's been changed around so many times, used to give 20 AD. So like literally Sivir would just like walk into a fight, plop down all the spells, and everyone on the team would have like 50 more AD.
Yeah, even before then, old Stark's Fervor gave AoE lifesteal and AoE, I think it was armor shred actually. It was like negative abyssal.
Yeah,
it was
armor
abyssal
reduction.
scepter. Yeah. Well, Huhi looking to reduce Pyrian's boost speed to 0. Cocoon not going to do the same thing. Nice dodge by Pyrian. Victor does get away. A bit defeated, but at least alive. And this game is a 600 lead for Counterledge Gaming. No kills or turrets been found in a while, but now Zig going for the flank on Darshan.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Level 9 on each person. Darshan is going to run away with the move speed.
Vital on the bottom, Vital on the right. Press the W to block a little bit of damage. Heals back up, goes the ulti, looking for some more healing to do. Missing the Cocoon, but look at the damage up, but it's still there. Zig opted into a flank with no vision coverage, no teammates around. Gets collapsed on, and a kill for CLG.
Yeah, that wasn't even close.
It wasn't.
CLG had the vision control for assistance, but even if CLG didn't arrive, like, Darshan played that so well. He procced 2 Vitals before proccing his ultimate, which means he could get a max of 6 Vitals off, and that's really all that's what the fight will be about for Darshan against Zig, is just proccing as many Vitals as possible, since his raw damage won't be able to tank him out late game.
Absolutely agree. And look at this, it's going to get even better because now he gets the wonderful happy thing called the Rift Herald.
Maybe. Zig's teleporting to try and stop this.
Gates nearby. It's going to be Huhi forced to run away first. And Pyrian maybe shouldn't have been here. Flashes away. Heal by Mash. Knocks back Stixay, and the flank is here. The Winori going for the damage. Smithy is going to go down. That's one picked up. Gate kites away promptly. Zig low, but staying alive. And this one, Stixay forcing him out. But Mash rockets away from the exhaust. But now the root will land onto a Nori. Huhi landing another slow. Stixay, does he have the damage? Flashes, the W, the dash, the kill comes in, and a speed up by Huhi means another one, a double kill for the AD carry. CLG ahead in kills.
Yeah, and very close fight with a bunch of people getting away at just low enough health, but how hard can CLG chase this?
Not that hard. Darshan trading flashes with Mash, and well, gets him off the turret, means mid lane out is going to go down, and a big lead for CLG.
Yeah, and the more kills Stixay and Darshan can get, the higher chance this team composition has to work, because Karma and Janna are the enablers, so the things that they are enabling need to get the goal distribution for this comp to work. As they go for the Rift Herald, the fight begins, and off on the side you could actually see Pyrian trying to do some work on a Huhi, but CLG collapses so well. Ghostblade, Janna with a little bit of tailwind, and Huhi also speeding up people with Karma, make them a very, very fast team. Although, you do have to wonder, like, where is their damage really coming from, and where is their finishing spells? This root is nice. Stixay pushes super hard to try and finish this one off, and then Huhi can give him the empowered shield to give him even more speed and secure the double kill.
Yeah, what's nice is actually Lucian also, it's a often forgetted part of his kit. If you tag him with the W, if anyone attacks that champion, Lucian gains some movement speed. So Karma speeds him up, he speeds himself up, Janna speeds him up, and he's just zipping around. And if Stixay does well, he'll be able to carry this game. Highest minion kills in the game. Most kills as well with 2. Stixay, I'd argue, the gold leader of the game, and he is by a significant amount.
Yeah.
But look at this. CLG losing some pressure with the mid lane.
But they ran out of minions.
They did.
Yeah, when Stixay gets Black Cleaver as well, he'll be even faster. Oh, dear.
Pyrian getting a bit injured. One extra tag from the Chaos Storm. Now it's not tagging anyone anymore. But Stixay low on health, and the Ocean Break will help a little bit, of course. Smash once in. Ooh, the rockets come across, but look at the shielding.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to assassinate Karma Janna? Nope.
Yeah, he was right next to his supports. Appreciate the effort. Mash actually going for the Ghostblade Trist build. interestingly enough.
Sure, it's an entirely physical, well, except for the ult, a very physical damage champion, right?
Everyone trying to do the Ghostblade build. It works on Jhin, works on Lucian, worked okay on Misfortune.
Keep in mind, you can armor pen turret, so it makes her an even better turret killer as well. I think it makes sense, honestly. I like the idea. It's like the new version of the old Rageblade Tristana build, right? When you're seeing that much more commonly.
Trying to get the early game power for the Trist.
And then Hurricane second seems likely. Nice pickup there. Blue buff going over to Purion and attempt number 2. Now, because Rift Herald's in combat, it will despawn at 1955. If it weren't in combat, it would be 1945.
Correct.
They will get it in time with about 20 seconds to spare. And that buff should go over cleanly to Darshan.
Yeah, very timely, actually. I think, especially in this game with the way they want to scale with Fiora, it's best to take it as close to 20 minutes as possible because that just means you'll have it more for being a late game Fiora.
And that'll be the goal. Counterlogic Gaming up 2,000 mash in striking distance of that turret, but doesn't go for it there. Smithy trying to get his jungle back, but no, Phoenix One took away his Raptors. The next Drake spawning will be yet again Ocean, which, depending on how the game plays out, might be entirely useless. But if you're playing Siege, it's going to mean quite a bit for the team that gets it.
I think for CLG, because they have so many shields, being able to regen afterwards as long as they can shield someone for not dying is great.
Yeah, you'll often be at low health and get a lot out of the missing health regen. As long as that actually happens without them just reculling fully, we shall see. Zig taking away part of the red buff, saying, no, Darshan, you cannot take this away from our team. Waiting for Inori to come over and grab that, and Inori does do so. Smithy wants to get revenge for the Raptors from earlier, but can't really do so.
I would have actually really liked to see Phoenix One give that to Zig. He's going to need all the help he can get against the Glimpse of the Void Darshan. Inori's going to be able to slow for himself just fine if he keeps landing axes, but they give it to Inori nonetheless. Ocean Drake up, maybe we see a fight. No. Phoenix One is not in position to stop this, and they don't have vision.
Not at all. So double Ocean Drake going over to Counterlogic Gaming. Plenty of regeneration. It means wave clear is there because you'll have almost infinite mana doing so, and it means that if you get out of combat, your health goes back up to full pretty fast. A big shield comes out looking for the buff, the speed, not quite going to land. And we're getting away from the cocoon. Ward cleared away, but what a great gravity wall. That's going to mean the turret. 6-8 jumps over the wall looking for this, but that turret will still fall. But now the fight is going to start almost for certain. A big knock-up on the gate. Look at the damage he's taking. Ults and runs and runs and runs, and he's going to live just barely. He's trying to get away. 6-8 can't quite pick him off another gravity well. And it means that CLG can't yet chase Darshan now on the other side of this one. Can he find the battle? Smithy can't quite land the cocoon. A good flash dodge. Gets him away. Now Inori forced to ghost and run.
So 1 summoner spell burned by CLG, 3 burned by Phoenix One. It actually feels like Gate may have lived due to the Piercing Light nerf to not have as much pass-through because 6-8, that's what he was going for when he zoomed in for that last execute.
Didn't quite hit him.
I wonder if Darshan's going to be able to find Inori.
Oh, Inori thinks he was known.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Darshan didn't know.
Not here.
He has tricked you. Gate half health. Jeez, yeah. Lucian's early to mid game is so good when you have just raw attack damage and armor penetration.
Exactly.
Ulti on a stick say, okay, I mean, it does make CLG run out, so I can't hate too much on that Purion ulti.
And he can be so greedy now with the double Ocean Drake. As long as he's not taking fatal damage, I feel like he will be healing up fairly quickly. Not to mention when he builds the lifesteal if he goes Bloodthirster with his 3rd item, but it looks like he's going for some attack speed, which I think is probably very valid.
Yeah, Bannermancer 3rd is the most common route that these champions go. And we have seen both Lucian builds now after the sort of more recent changes. We can sometimes see them go for the early crit, but this is still 6 going for the early game version. Darshan actually getting behind a little bit in the laning phase. The difficulty, though, is that Zig is building... I mean, I guess Visage makes sense on Trono, but it's still buying magic resist against a Fior, which doesn't feel that great.
I agree. Especially against Lucian, who's going to be killing him. I would have much rather seen a Randuin's with that next set of items. But
maybe Frozen Heart even.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, there is math to be had for like how much you get from the 20%. It's like, okay, well, I'll heal more. It'll benefit my Hydra lifesteal. It'll benefit my passive. It'll benefit my ultimate.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it's just better than armor. I don't know the numbers on hand, and it's debatable. But it would be so much better if he's like against Lysandra, because it would just be an obvious win.
I agree. Although, like, and this is another one of those games where CLG, it's 23 minutes in, it doesn't look like they've made huge ground. They're only up 1,000 gold. but you're kind of just waiting for them to break the game open because it's constantly Phoenix 1 who is kind of on the back foot, and CLG's waiting on these item timings. They kind of have them now, especially if Huhi finishes his death cap and Darshan finishes basically second black clear of the team, because they're able to pressure in all of the matchups. Like every single one of the matchups, even though the gold is close, is still favoring CLG in one way or the other.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and we'll see if outscaling even happens here in this one. Darshan doing some damage to Zig, and look at that, down to half HP from a simple trade, and walks right back out. Darshan stacking up his fervor quite nicely. Look at the damage on this turret. Both the side turrets going down. Darshan in the outright 1v1, just bullying Zig off the lane. This top is going to be going down as well. CLG just completely, look, it hits 20x minutes, and shocking, CLG starting to take everything over the map.
Yeah, they're neutralizing. Here's the game. Oh, Acroman has to flash away.
Missed ulti by Gate, though. Looks like the tornado delayed him long enough that he had still aimed up that way and just completely whiffed an after move. He had to flash out, though, as well. So, as a summoner spell lost by CLG's support. Darshan gets to steal away a blue buff, though, so he's going to have infinite mana. Yeah, CDR, he's going to feel good.
The map pressure CLG has is pretty huge right now, and P1 is taking a lot of damage while trying to get vision back. Here comes the duel attempt.
Jeez. He flashes Darshan, just cues over the wall and goes, yeah, you're still gone.
Yeah. When Trundle ults you and then runs away, you know you're doing something right.
Yes. You can see that matchup definitely going Darshan's way. Now a Baron attempt by Counter Logic Gaming pretty early on. Trying to get Phoenix 1 to fight them there. They are missing the Braum ultimate, which is a good time to go for this.
Really just going for a fight here. Stixxay took a lot of damage.
Dangerously low, and Smithy as well. Thankfully for him, away from the Chaos Storm, though. Mash does not get knocked up. Looking for Huhi. Plenty of damage there. Aqua to reset it a little bit, but look how low Smithy is. Repels away from the rocket jump, and Gate gets him away out. Ooh, that was close, but Mash does get the kill with his ultimate.
Yeah, really tense moment of the game right here because CLG needs to recall on Huhi, but Darshan is getting a lot of work done. Zig and the rest of Phoenix 1 is going to try and burst down Baron, but at 25 minutes, that takes really long, and there's still Stixxay alive with double shielders coming in. This is risky for Phoenix 1.
3v5 for the Baron. There's no smite available. Picked up cleanly by Inori now for the re-engage.
They get it.
CLG have to run, though. Darshan is in a bit of danger. The slows are going to land. They'll get the stun, and why even bother going for that? You had no chance to steal CLG, giving away a kill and giving away what could have been lane control.
Yeah, CLG go for the full collapse on Baron without a steal, and Darshan doesn't even finish off the top lane inhibitor, so that becomes a huge win for Phoenix 1.
Big mistake out of Counter Logic Gaming going for that play at all, and yeah, opportunity cost inhibitor. Another kill for Phoenix 1, and a Baron means they're in a much better spot now.
Yeah, the idea for that play, as far as I'm concerned, was CLG trying to use a bunch of shields on Baron to bait a fight in. But we're going to get to see the replay of them trying to stop Phoenix 1. Phoenix 1 is in here, and Darshan could have finished off the inhibitor, but clearly the call is made to double TP and try and stop it. Gravity Field zones them out, and Stixxay just can't get in to do enough damage. Neither can Darshan, and then once Baron goes down, it's not like Phoenix 1 was actually that low from the Baron. Olaf and Trundle can beast that thing down without taking very much damage. Darshan gets stunned by the Braum, and the rest of CLG just have to retreat.
Yeah, so a big miscue by Counter Logic Gaming, and now Infernal Drake is up for Phoenix 1.
And Darshan's not even there. Right.
Yeah.
He's pushing the top side. And
neither top laner has teleport, though, so they both have to run down to do this. And actually, Darshan's going to stay, so as soon as Zig arrives... Oh, look at that play, though! Stixxay going huge,
Stixxay?
but gets punished for it. He wanted to make a game-saving play, knock down the support, get away, buy some time. Instead, just dies, and Counter Logic Gaming keep just throwing away gold.
Yeah, big misplay by Stixxay there. But at the same time, we're looking at the CLG composition. Who's going to provide backline threat? Who's going to finish off kills? It kind of has to be Stixxay. Just not like that. Take the poke, back away. Do not dash into 5 people.
Yeah, he thought it was like the Game 5 of the NA Finals, and no, it's not the same
Not going to reset on Lucian.
It was close.
It was very close, but even if he gets it, what's his escape plan? He had burned his summoners to kind of get in, so...
I think his idea was like, Darshan was splitting, right? Darshan was still top lane, so it was a 4v5 of some kind. Like, you take a Baron buff away, you trade kills, you buy time. Like, I actually think that can be a good play. Just like trading a kill like that seems reasonable. Mash, Gonna try for the play. Knockback is there. It's a 1v2. He's exhausted. This shouldn't be much for him. Then a shutdown goes through. Smithy grabs it. Do Rebel for him, but look at the splitting, though. Yeah. Mash as split pusher means Phoenix 1 goes mid, knocks the turret down.
And I gotta say, if this happens again, Phoenix 1 will be the masters of the random Game 2 victory, because that's actually been all of their game wins, has been in Game 2. Darshan tried to stun Pyrian with his own gravity field there, but couldn't get the shot off.
I think he mistimed the W. It was a little bit too early. He got pulled back in after the W went through, if I saw that one correctly.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's
I actually don't know the interaction, because it might stop the Victor stacking. Hold on, though. Yeah, Gate again being attacked by the culling, and looks like Australia training enough to keep him from going down. Goes away and stays alive just barely. A bit of poke on a Zig. CLG, though, unwilling to stop fighting. Mash is dead for the next few seconds, which means CLG wanted some, but now the re-engage for 650. Rocket belts away, and they're going to get out. It's actually kind of funny. Sorry, go ahead.
No, keep going.
It's funny that Victor is still buying Rileys, because now the ulti only takes every 2 seconds, not every half second. So you don't perma-slow anymore. Right? It is actually worse on Victor's kit than it was before. And it's still the common build. I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just worse.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, actually, because, at least in my opinion, if he was actually upgrading his hex score to 3,
that'd be better.
The Chaos Storm is faster, and because it's more about the tick damage than the upfront damage like it used to be, the absolute amount of slowing you get out of the ultimate is now less, but it's more valuable to have a chance of keeping them inside of it, which is, I think, why the Rileys, the core build is the triple upgrade to make it faster and the Rileys to make it slow, so you can get multiple ticks off.
But in that order, I think, right?
Exactly. You should almost always get the third upgrade first, so I feel like Pyrion's build is a little bit off right now.
I actually really agree. There's so much of, the third upgrade is actually the best one. It gives you more stats than the other ones. Now look at this, Inori going and taking up, and that's going to be another turret going down. Even though Baron has basically timed off as Phoenix 1 by now, look at this, a late game gold lead against Counter Logic Gaming. Phoenix 1 looking good now in game 2.
Yeah, Phoenix 1 has taken game 2s off of Cloud9, Apex, and Energy. And funnily enough, they're all kind of similar to this game, where they're like these big, messy affairs where they come out on top. And this would be huge for Phoenix 1 if they can take this one and chain it into the next. But it's not over yet. CLG still have a fighting chance, and Darshan will have the split push pressure. So it's really just one big mistake left for either team, and the game will be over. Right,
yeah. Respawn timer is definitely shorter than they were 5 months ago. So usually you don't outright win a game off a 31-minute team fight, but it will mean a ton of pressure and a huge lead if it does happen. And probably 70-80% win rate if you win the next team fight. Phoenix 1 tying basically with Counter Logic Gaming. The gold lead technically theirs, but it's so close, it's hard to call. But, unlike Game 1 where we said CLG outscales, I feel like it's Phoenix 1 this time. And I mean, this state of affairs just feels like it's good for P1, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Mash starting to hit critical mass on
He's
Christ.
big.
Hurricane Infinity Edge. But, I mean, Huhi's got incredibly powerful shields. And the AP ratio on the Mantrid E is actually kind of insane. Like, you get a 400 health shield just from the E, but when you Mantra it, you gain an additional 500 shield with the current AP value. So it's like it's a 900 health shield on the target.
Yeah, the individual target AP ratio is actually above 1.
Yeah.
Your side targets get 50% of the Mantra bonus, but yeah, you have like a 1.1 or 1.2 ratio on your primary target. So that's a lot of stats to give a tank.
Yeah, aside from parallel convergence on Echo, which is a very conditional shield, this is the highest AP scaling shielding ability in the game. And it's crazy because you can give it to the whole team. And yeah, just while we have some time, I'm going to do a bit of theory crafting here.
Okay.
Generally, balance-wise, shields are balanced at lower AP ratios than damage abilities because shields also multiply with resistances.
Right.
So when you start getting shielding ratios well above 1, the scaling becomes a little bit multiplicative. They don't have a tank, so it's not the same expected value, but it's still kind of insane late game how powerful the shields become.
And we're actually seeing Darshan have a worse time in this one-on-one as well. But yeah, exactly. That as time goes on, shieldings get even better. Then it gets to a point where the shields just fall off without breaking anyway. At least damage doesn't really go to waste, but shielding often can. So there's like fun little games here. But now look at this Darshan getting a lot of health back, looking for the win against Zig. Gets all of the triggers, flashes the chase, does get a pretty good vital.
That's
and
huge.
Takes him out. Solo laner versus solo laner. The kill goes through. Look at that culling. Well aimed by Stixxay.
Yeah, and this is what COG's composition is about. You get a solo kill, and then they have so much speed from the Karma and the Janna that they're trying to interrupt the recalls. The culling stopped one. They're trying to recall in the bush, but it stopped yet again. Recalls, no one back in base still.
And there's a Baron Nashor available and a Drake in 12 seconds right now, so Counter Logic Gaming can have their way with the map right here. Okay, P1's jungler's alive, but he doesn't have flash, so they can at least track him coming in right now. So far, CLG wants the mid lane. The flash! Oh, Pyrion still gets hit, but it's not quite enough damage to kill him. Pops the ult to get Stixxay away. The minion wave is dead anyway. CLG have not yet gotten anything more than turret damage for that pick.
Yeah, but they get Pyrian so low. Zig already down. The more they can expose, the easier Darshan split pushing will become.
All right, mid lane tier 2 is gone. The solo kill by Darshan meant the inhibitor as well, and CLG have once again reopened the game. Darshan now with another lifesteal item and actually a red elixir, so triple lifesteal if you consider that part of the build. And looks like CLG will get their first Infernal Drake.
Definitely not losing the 1v1 build.
No.
We'll still have a Glimpse of the Void for another 5 minutes as well as far as the Rift Herald payback. He can get bursted if he goes into team fights, like, very easily. But if they shield him like crazy, they can basically, like, currently he only has 2,200 health on Fiora. But if you're considering 1,000 health shield from Stixxay, or sorry, from Huhi, and a 300 damage shield from Aphromoo, he becomes much more versatile, not to mention the overshield he can get from Bloodthirster.
And the locket.
That would be a potential for him to be able to team fight.
Oh yes, oh yes. You can keep Darshan alive. You can. It's great, because now you can start thinking about what CLG is thinking about with his comp. Darshan builds for the one-on-one. Okay, you beat Zig, great. Guess what? The rest of us can make you team fight.
Right.
So now everything works for you. Darshan is just the guy now in this game.
Yeah.
And CLG kind of building around him pretty heavily.
He's testing how strong he actually is with his lifesteal build by trying to take down Nexus turret.
Going down to half.
Yeah, it's much harder for him to pressure the top side because that's where Baron is, and they need to be able to pull Phoenix One between objectives. I feel like Zig is close enough to base that Darshan shouldn't be able to kill a Nexus turret in a split push.
Right.
While Zig is there.
Definitely agree. We'll see what happens, though, if he gets some level of chunk down. Ooh, bit of damage onto a Nori, but you can see he's able to withstand most of this. Stixxay does not have any crit multipliers yet, just the rapid fire cannon. Another culling on towards Gate, but Nori's behind him. Guess what, though? Shielding's too good for you, and look at the damage Olaf took right there. He did nothing to Stixxay. Karma blocked it all. And now Smithy wants right back in, looking for the cocoon, not quite gonna land.
Yeah, and Darshan actually almost killed Zig under the turret. But with the Hydra on the Trundle, he's now healing back up, and Darshan has to back away because there's no minions to heal off of. But that was very close, while CLG was almost taking that fight in the mid lane. So one of these things fall over for Phoenix One, whether they get poked down in the main fight, or if Darshan can actually land a solo kill onto Zig, that will break the game for Phoenix One. And they have to hold on in all these different ways and hope to land a team fight.
Well, they hope they can stop this because Baron Nash being set up by Counterlogic Gaming. They have been the active team in this mid-game. Despite the gold being equal, CLG's making all the choices here. 5,000 health on the Baron. A nice little chaos. A little bit of death ray coming out, I should say, from Pyrian. Now looking for the play. Mash going to get rooted up, so he rocket jumps away, stays alive. Gate blocks Inner Flame with the shield coming up. That's going to be on cooldown for a few more seconds. Stixxay's ulti up in 8.
Darshan's going to get a turret.
And Darshan, ignoring the Trundle, kills the turret off, and CLG slowly making that pressure work. Once again, doing the duel against Zig. Look at the damage up what he's got, looking for one more vital, does not quite land it. As he has to lifesteal back and forth, Zig getting some damage across, but once again, Baron being started up. Mash senses something is happening, ward over the wall, CLG.
Darshan's actually going to run out of mana before anything else happens. CLG should back away here.
Looking for the Ocean Drake, a nice knockback, and Smithy very, very low, and he gets taken down, and Nori picks him up. And now for the chain chase onto Stixxay, onto the turret they go once again, but we're gonna watch this fight right here. The Elise is dead, but so is Darshan, killing out Zig. Darshan literally just 1v1s to win the game. He teleports as well, and Counterlogic Gaming wins 2-0.
Oh my goodness, classic Darshan and CLG. You might even be able to call that classic Coast when Darshan was on there, when he used to 1v1 all the way to Nexus through the Nexus turrets. He teleports in to lend some extra assistance and push him over the edge at the very end. But that's why they picked the Fiora into the Trundle. Eventually, he is going to crush that matchup.
So, Jat, I know we say League of Legends is a team game. It's about playing 5-on-5, queuing up with your friends, being well coordinated. Sometimes it's just a Darshan versus Zig game.
Sometimes, and the thing is, though, to make that work, the rest of the CLG team needs to be able to prevent assistance from arriving.
True.
And the constant push and pull between Baron and the move speed boost they were able to get from Janna and Karma, as well as the culling from Lucian and just the Protobelt Elise, like all that annoyance. As silly as it sounds, that four-man team was there just to stop recalls. It's like, don't die, stop recalls, have a little bit of threat. And that's what it did. That was a very narrow win condition for CLG.
Very narrow.
But they managed to navigate the tunnel and make it work.
And well played by them. And you're right. Like, I was obviously being a little bit hyperbolic talking about the 1v1 part of the game. I actually do want to talk about the 4-on-4, though, because the Karma and Lucian both, like, basically top the damage charts. Okay, so Darshan did a ton, of course, but both the Karma and the Lucian out-damaged the Victor, the Olaf, the Tristana,